So let's move on to the Domaine du Margalleau, our first still sec. So this is a sec. It's a dry one. It's a sec on the back. But sec, again, we were talking about Chenin, high acid. Sec can have up to, I guess it's up to 9 grams per liter. It doesn't mean it's bone dry. It just means it feels dry, it tastes dry. And I'll give you a fancy... Well, I have a label shot, but it's not the right label shot. But I'll show it to you anyway because I spent so much time searching for all of these things. But that's not the right label shot. I'll go back here. I'll do my bottle shot again. So this is label shot. And just out of morbid curiosity, this is 12.5% alcohol. I know that some people out there are interested in those things, and it is $15, but we probably should have gone to the price after we sort of tasted it. So,
yeah, that's another good point to bring up is just the price. These wines are all incredibly affordable. You can almost, with the exception of possibly the exception of the Champollion, you can pull out a 20, a single bill, and you're done. You've got a great bottle. The wines are incredibly inexpensive, and to your other point, they're quite low in alcohol. 12.5% is getting on up there for Vouvray most of the time. Not in every vintage, but especially when you're talking about anything that's bubbly, fizzy, anything that's dry, or even a demi-sec, you're probably looking at under 12.5% alcohol, and that's kind of a nice benefit, especially when they're so easy to kick back. It's a good safeguard.
They are, and to that point, so we both tasted these before. At least for me, the Margalleau, with an hour of air, has ratcheted up its game. This is drinking much better to my palate than it was an hour ago, which just goes back to what you said. This is really Chenin Blanc, from Vouvray in particular, from the Loire Valley, world class. These are world class wines, and these are probably, as a group, the cheapest group of world class wines that you can buy on the planet. I mean, you can buy the top examples of Vouvray for two $20 bills.
Yeah, I think, except for some of the geeks, certainly on the East Coast and some of the Loire Valley devotees, this is one of the most overlooked wine classes in the world, not only for value, but for flavor and for history. And I think they have been unfairly subjected to this search for bigger, richer, badder, better, which is not necessarily the case. And there's nothing wrong with looking for bigger wines in any way, shape, or form, whether they're white, red, or otherwise. But these are finessed wines. These are terroir-driven wines. These are delicate wines. And that has not been the trend lately. And they've suffered from not being in vogue in that regard. And they are definitely popping back up into the chic circles. But there are only a few of those chic circles still are starting to emerge. So they need a little bit more time to come back into the mainstream, I think.
Yeah, but we know what happens then, and the prices go up. So we should probably just
That's right.
end this discussion. Yes, end this discussion right now. Out there said something very interesting that he commented that even this is even working at room temperature. Talking about the Margalleau, I'm drinking it at room temperature. I don't have a fridge or ice bucket here. I can't believe how good this is at room temperature.
I've chilled mine, and I have tasted it twice now. I tasted it chilled at, I guess that was an hour and a half ago, actually. And I poured it again, and it's been sitting there for about half an hour, and it's definitely opening up. And to the point of temperature and, as I said, delicate wines don't need to be chilled to the bone.
No.
It can be, to pull a feminine comparison, and it's like, very skinny women, they get very cold and they're all huddled in, and
Yes.
they need shawls to wrap around themselves, and they're not showing how beautiful they are and their great shoulders and what have you. But with a little bit of time, a little bit of warmth, the personality can really come out.
Absolutely, and this really shows. I think it's a beautiful combination of the terroir of Vouvray and the quality, the character of Chenin Blanc, the bright, beautiful, yet nuanced quality of fine Chenin Blanc. And this is 2012, which is, again, challenging vintage. Not an easy vintage. Not a particularly bad vintage for dry Vouvray. I mean, you're making it from the least ripened grapes, but certainly not an easy vintage in which to make wine in the Loire Valley.